Hey everyone, and welcome back to FANFIC Talk mini episode, 5. We're still doing these. I think every episode I'm just opening saying we're still doing these, because we are.
Dude, we are?
Yeah, we're still on about this.
Why?
If I knew the answer to that, then we would not be doing these. No,
why are we doing this?
We're looking for answers. We're looking for what it means to be human. That's what this show is all about, actually. It's about the human condition.
Truth.
Yeah. It's about truth. It's about the human condition. How much suffering can we put ourselves through in a month? Month by month, we're just putting ourselves through more and more.
What breaks first? The spirit or the body?
Very good, Cheese. Very good. Very apt. Because
body.
Because today...
I think it was his body, right?
It was his body in that case. Well, until it wasn't. He broke his back.
Well, his spirit never broke.
Yeah, that's right. I guess that's true.
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
It came close.
It was fractured.
Oh, right in the spirit.
Anyways, today, Cheese, we're talking about Batman again. This is like the third fanfic talk related episode that we have talked about Batman.
But this one's epic.
Well, not only is it epic, but this is the first fanfic talk mini, so it's technically different.
Technically, it's a little different. It's mini in size.
Yeah.
So technically, it's not the third time, it's the first time.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
it's a mini.
It's very
it's
different.
more like a podcast-like format. It's a little different.
It is so different. You guys don't understand.
It's so different, dude.
No, yeah, we did a Batman episode way back. I think it was episode 5 of Fanfic Talk, which just so happens to be one of my least favorite episomes because because for some reason during the exporting...
Is that the Finding Nemo one?
No, that is Batman and... I don't know. I think it was Batman and Superman. And we did it at my house. And for some reason during the exporting process, it exported at like 480p. And it's like the lowest quality fanfic talk episode. For some reason, or it might be like 380, I don't know, and it has a bunch of other like errors, like I accidentally put up like the wrong screens at a couple points when we were reading certain segments. I had the wrong segments. It's a mess. I mean, I'm sure it has good moments. I haven't watched it in a long time, but so there's that, and then there's also Fanfic Talk episode 22, which isn't even out at the time of us recording this. It won't be out for several months.
You don't like it?
No, Fanfic Talk episode 22 is great. That's a great episode. But Fanfic Talk episode 5, whenever we... Well, I mean, you haven't seen it yet, but I thought it was good. I thought it was good after watching it 8 times. More than 8 times. More like 8 hours getting through just part of it.
I think the only thing is that Beard Guy gets a little lost actually reading. One thing I was surprised about is that he didn't try doing any weird voices. I mean, that's such a classic Beard Guy thing to do, especially like when we're together.
He did it a little bit. He did the Batman voice a couple times, but he didn't go out of his way. No, not like continuously.
I did.
Yeah,
because I get
was
bored.
Your domain. Oh yeah, and I'm sure we'll get very bored during this story as well. In fact, Cheese, this story might look a little familiar to you because it was the loser in Fanfic Talk episode 22. This was the story that we didn't land on for Batman. I got so lazy.
Well,
I just
didn't
chose
look
it.
at this one.
Just didn't even bother looking. Maybe you would have recognized it had you looked. And no, an episode, for those of you who don't know, Fanfic Talk episode 22 can be found on Wax Penguins, not on Fanfic Talk the channel. However, if you watch that video, which I think it will be out by the time this comes out, by like a month, if you watch that video, the loser for the Batman category was a story called Tears by Anakin Love. And when I saw that we did not land on Tears, I was actually pretty upset because I remember liking Tears and thinking, from what I had read, I didn't read all of it, that it would be a good one to land on.
This is a big deal.
We'll see just how big of a deal it is. And during this conversation, during this time, we'll probably talk about our experience with Batman. And
Batman is epic.
He's something. He's a guy, and he's a bat. I guess we'll start reading now so we don't have people waiting like 13 minutes for us to start reading, as we have done in the past. Do you want to start, Cheese?
Oh, sure.
Don't forget to read the description.
This story is called Tears by Anakin Love. After all, even the Batman's allowed to cry every once in a while.
This is why we needed to land on this. I was so upset when we didn't land on it. I just had to bring it back somehow. This is like a redemption story.
All right, let's get this started.
Let's get down to brass tacks.
I knew Batman had a tortured soul. He always had. The sights he'd seen, the places he'd seen, the things he'd gone through. It was too much for one man to bear. That was funny. He said the same thing, basically, just in two different ways. The sights he'd seen, the places he'd been.
He's just trying to come up with ways to extend the sentence a little bit.
Since this is like a mini, I'm just like nitpicky. Every little thing is fun.
Yes, of course. If you're watching this show for us to like laud over these fanfics and talk about how great they are, you're watching the wrong show. This isn't the show. You're watching the wrong program.
That's why I struggle with the review portion, because I don't like to. I'm just like, a part of me is so tuned out, even though I'm reading it.
Mm-hmm.
I just like, sometimes all I can say is pretty bad.
Yeah, I've noticed. I've complained about that very much. I'm like, come on, you gotta say something.
There's some things. Well, even if I can usually like these days, I think I can actually come up with something.
Yeah.
Like, maybe paying attention a little bit more.
If you go back to Fanfic Talk episode like 3, though.
I'm usually either way. I think I'm pretty short and straightforward to the point.
Yeah, you are very short, but you're also very short and straightforward.
The first time I think I ever saw him crying was when I was about 9, maybe. He was in his study, looking at some papers in front of him. Then I saw him start to shake. He didn't start wailing, but his face screwed up and got red, and tears started to leach from his eyes.
That's a funny thought. Just imagine his face all scrunched up.
Like a paper ball.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like one of those sour faces you see on like the sour candies.
Oh yeah, like the warhead?
Yeah. Man, if only this were like visual, if only this were in an actual episode, then I could have cut to that. Dang it.
Bruce?
I said softly. He immediately stopped, pulled everything back in, and asked in his most calm voice, though riddled with quavering. Yes, Dick.
That wasn't quavering enough.
I can't.
Yes, man. Are you okay?
I asked.
Of course, Dick. Is there something you need?
That doesn't sound very Batman-like, but...
I guess he's in his Bruce Wayne persona right now, so you can kind of get away with not going gravelly.
Okay.
Of course, Dick. Is there something you need?
I couldn't reach a cookie or something on the top shelf. Just some stupid little kid thing. So he got it for me, gave me a smile, as if to reassure me everything was fine, and went back to his study.
Wow. I don't know if this is based off like a certain continuity of Batman. I don't know if this is like comic
Should I read
Batman.
one more?
Yeah, one more.
I guess he figured I would just forget about the whole thing, and everything would be all fine. But it wasn't, because I didn't forget. I remembered because it had disturbed me.
Oh.
What I'd seen. Something terrible must have been wrong. I waited for the bad news to drop on me, but it didn't. Life just went on.
I guess it would disturb me too if my mentor's face was scrunched up like the Warhead sour candy.
I have a comment about Batman. We just watched the most recent trailer.
Oh yeah,
for the movie coming up.
Well, is that the first time you'd seen the trailer for the new movie?
I saw it twice recently in the previews for No Way Home.
Okay, yeah, I figured that was probably it then.
And
yeah,
it looks pretty good.
Yeah, I pretty much everywhere I've looked, I mean, I haven't gone too far into it, but I mostly see everybody being pretty positive about it. People try to, usually people are pretty positive about Batman.
I know that this one's gonna involve, like, they said it's gonna involve, like, actual detective work.
Yeah, which is good.
This time.
Because I don't think Zack Snyder's Batman was really really doing a lot. I guess he did a little detective work. I'm trying to remember the movies, and it's really hard. I think he went to like an
Maybe a
art
little
gala
bit.
at one point.
He killed some guys.
Oh yeah, he killed lots of people. Lots of people.
He talked to Jared Leto
Did
in
he?
Zack Snyder's cut.
Oh yeah, I love how that's after all these years. That's like the only conversation they've ever had, just a post-credits scene in a director's cut.
Really liked that. I don't know.
I haven't seen
Maybe
it.
I think I saw that scene. I don't think it was as bad as I expected it to be, but it's still kind of stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, who cares?
Well, speaking of caring, I guess I should make it clear. Ever since these DC movies, I'm trying to think of which one it is that like really just turned me off to the entire DC
Suicide
movie.
Squad.
It was Suicide Squad. You beat me to the punch. It was Suicide Squad. No, because Man of Steel I liked originally, and then over time I was just kind of like, this isn't really all that great. It's kind of gray and drab and sad and quiet and gloomy. This isn't Superman.
That's right. His dad dies in a tornado.
That's so weird. Such a like a tornado approaches him and he just
That's
calmly
kinda
looks over his
weird.
shoulder.
Yeah, I mean, he's Superman. He could easily save his dad from that. I don't remember why he doesn't.
Well, he doesn't want to reveal his identity. His dad stops him. He gives him
Who
a little
cares?
handshake. I just love the tornado.
Who cares?
The tornado
That's your
is like
dad.
3 feet from him, and he's just calmly
Who
standing there
cares?
like, don't say
That
me
is
something."
so not worth the sacrifice.
You could probably pull it off without people knowing you had superpowers. Like maybe just run
Yeah,
really fast.
I mean, he's so
and
fast.
snag him, and people would just be like, "Wow, he went so
He's
fast. He's so
arguably
strong."
faster than the Flash.
I don't know. You could probably do it without exposing your identity, or just go so fast people don't even see what happened. I don't know. Just like zoom, and he's just gone, and people are like, "Hey, where did
I
they
don't
go?"
know. Maybe we'd have to see the movie again.
Well, that's
but-
not gonna happen.
Talking about it right now, I mean, I see bad writing.
Yeah. And then there
Because-
was that. So that was,
What?
the
His
medium.
daddy could have been killed by Zod or something. That would have been better.
I think in most continuities, Paul Kent dies from just like a heart attack, which, is a good way for him to die because Superman can't do anything about that. He can't punch heart attacks.
God!
At least he shouldn't punch heart attacks. It's probably
Yeah.
not a good idea.
It's so weird. I mean, that just seems like a really poor sacrifice. If I was in that situation, I'm like, oh, I'm not dying for this. His identity's getting revealed at some point.
The
I'm not
terrible
gonna die.
death.
I want to stay with my son.
Suffocating in a giant tornado as it like spirals you. Ah! They make it, of course,
Probably
very
got
dramatic.
torn from limb.
Like pianos crashing into you in midair. But I get he just gets like sucked up by the tornado and disappears. There's like no body or anything. It's just like. Anyways, that's not the point. The point is there was that. Then there was a Batman v Superman. There was Justice
yeah.
League. There
Batman
was
v
Suicide
Superman.
Squad.
That was one. That was one.
That's how we
was
started
one straw.
Fanfic Talk episode 1. Do you remember the first line in episode 1 of Fanfic Talk?
No.
Is you going, do you know the oldest lie in America?
Oh my god.
You dated that episode so hard. First line.
Did we like do that right after seeing it?
I think so, or at least very
Oh,
close
man.
after seeing it. So it made sense
That's
at the time,
wild.
but rewatching that episode now and hearing you immediately date the episode with that
Wow.
is pretty, it's something else.
Were we in senior year of high school?
Oh, I don't
Or
know.
junior. I think it was
One
junior.
of the two, yeah. We've been doing this for a while, guys. I'm like 50 now.
I was gonna say, the Batman v Superman also like spiraled us to want to start seeing movies that just looked, so bad that they were gonna be funny, which was
Yeah.
what Batman v Superman was.
That's why we went to
So
go
do
see
you wanna
Ghostbusters.
say? Okay,
2016.
you went ahead and said it. Yeah, that spiraled me into a depression.
Maybe Superman or Ghostbusters?
No, the Ghostbusters movie.
Yeah.
I mean,
that
that sickened me to my core.
Yeah. We went to see that with Susan. You might
my
remember Susan
God.
from episode
She
10
gave
of
it
Fanfic
what was
Talk.
it, 6 out of 10?
Susan gave it a 6 out of 10. She was...
I was shocked.
Yeah, it's been a while since a movie has been coming out that I think we've been that fascinated and following in any degree. I'm trying to think of
Yeah.
what the latest one would be. I really can't. I mean, maybe Sonic a little bit, but we didn't see that.
Oh my god.
Maybe The Disaster Artist a little bit, which you also never got around to seeing. I saw it a couple times.
I have it on a wish list to order.
Well, maybe are you going to see the new Batman? Bring it back to topic.
Probably.
Yeah. The point I was trying to make through all this is that DC has just really been rubbing me the wrong way with all these films. After I know people will say Shazam was good, but
I don't think it looked that good.
Yeah, I don't know much about it. I know Aquaman was a disappointment. Wonder Woman 1984 was kind of disappointing. The first
And then people still say Aquaman was good.
That surprises me. Aquaman seemed from the very beginning like it was just going to get trashed, and I think for the most part it did, but maybe you just know some very interesting people.
What I was gonna say about 10 minutes ago is I actually don't... I think I like the new voice that they're doing this time. It's like, it sounds a little similar to Christian Bale, but without the...
Everybody likes making fun of the Christian Bale voice, and I get it. I did too.
It's just toned it down a notch.
Yeah, they did take it a little far. I don't know quite what the creative process was there. If they thought maybe it would be unrealistic if he was just talking in a slightly deeper voice, people would just be like, I know you. The second time I saw him was later that same year. Wow, he cries a lot, I guess. I don't know, a couple times a year isn't too bad. Not much later. Oh, okay, well, never mind.
A couple tears here and there.
But later enough that the previous incident was far off in my mind. Alright, I guess they answered me there. It's not that close. Little kids drop things quick, you know? Sure. Anyway, he was in the Batcave this time, typing at his computer. I crept in, hoping I could scare him. Then I saw him start to shake, and he was crying again. I just love the fact that he's just crying out of nowhere, it seems. Just walk in, he's typing on his computer, and he just starts crying. Just like that. He was quivering, and his face was getting red and screwed up. I was again disturbed by this and frightened. Must have been using Reddit. But I felt sorry for him, because he just sounded so unhappy. Was he talking? He's just typing.
I'm so sorry.
Maybe he's like whimpering or something. While he's typing. I guess, so he is making sobbing noises. It was the crying of a man, jaded. Every time I cried, he always took care of me, so now I had to take care of him. I quietly went up to him and put my arms around him, as far as I could, which wasn't very far, and I began to strangle him. God. I misread. Sorry, Cheese, I didn't mean to get your hopes up there. I just wanted him to know I cared about him. That would happen in the Zack Snyder version.
Oh, Robin, no!
He raised his head from his hands and looked down at me in surprise. Then he knelt down and put his arms around me in a tight hug. The tears were gone. The tears were gone in the blink of an eye, yet again, and that hug was And yet again, that hug was a one almost meant to reassure himself. I guess that makes sense. It's kind of clunky. As it was to reassure me. Are we going to even learn why he's crying? Or is he just having a mental breakdown? He made an effort to hide it from then on. And when Batman makes an effort to do something, he does it well. I almost thought maybe I had dreamed the two previous incidents up, because I didn't see him shed a single other tear until I was 15. So manly. I'll read one more.
I've never shedded a tear.
My least favorite part about these fanfic talk episodes is always the fanfics. Funny that.
Yeah, me too. I don't like it.
Yeah. Can we just get rid of the fanfics in these fanfic episodes? He was out on the balcony in his boxers and a t-shirt. Alright. About ready to go to bed. It was late. The city was silent, and he was exhausted. For once, he wasn't going out on patrol. I came to find him because I needed help with a chemistry question and saw him on the balcony. Wow.
How do you feel?
Not very emotional just yet. Have you ever cried during a fanfic? Be honest.
I think at least once.
Okay. With tears of laughter, I assume?
Maybe that and pain.
Okay, yeah, a combination of those things. It's a very powerful emotion.
Though he was bathed in shadow, I couldn't see his face. It was chilly out that night, so he shivered as he cried.
I put my book and papers
Why
down
is
on
he
a
in
table.
boxers and a t-shirt if he's outside in the cold? Of course he's gonna be
Is
shaking.
he?
Yeah, it said he was in boxers. I guess.
Where?
I read it a little bit earlier. It said he was in like boxers and a t-shirt. Where is it? Let me see. I don't- oh yeah, he was out on the balcony in his boxers and a t-shirt. No wonder he's
Oh my
freezing.
God.
I don't know.
I put my book and papers down on a table and murmured softly, "Bruce." He didn't turn toward me. I guess he didn't hear me. I was planning on just leaving him alone, but as I turned, I caught sight of something that chilled me to the bone. Oh my God.
It's making it sound so disturbing.
I could hear him sniffing and shaking, and a low moan escaped him. That's when I saw he had something in his hand.
What?
It was a small
I
cylinder.
thought it was gonna be a gun.
It could still be. But I couldn't see what sort because his hand was shaking so badly. It looked like a pill bottle, though.
No, the sentence actually says, "I looked like a pill bottle,"
Oh.
though.
I gulped. Suddenly, I was so scared for him, and my previous thoughts of going back to my room were gone. I didn't want him to do what I thought he was about to do. Why would he need a pill bottle to kill himself if he
Why would you
could
even
just jump or use a gun?
Maybe he's just taking like a sleep medication pill. It might not be like a suicide pill. They don't really put those in bottles. You're jumping to a lot of conclusions here.
I went up to him swiftly and stood next to him.
Don't do it, Bruce.
Murmured.
Please don't do it. I need you. Gotham
Murmured isn't really the
needs
right
you.
word for that.
We all need you. Bruce, I love you. Please don't do it.
I had almost started to cry because it didn't look like my words were getting through to him. I became frantic and I really started to cry.
Please, Bruce, please. I love you so much. I can't lose another dad.
Well, I don't mean to put us on too much of a cliffhanger, but this might be a good point to mention a bit more about the latest Batman movie that's coming out.
It has Catgirl.
As a Catwoman, actually. She's not Catgirl.
I
It's
know.
Gotta get that right. She's a woman. She's a strong, independent woman. She's not a girl.
Woman!
Or, I need to I should make it clear. This episode of Fanfic Talk Mini, I always forget the name. It's going to come out in May of 2022, but the Batman movie comes out in March of 2022. So this is coming out several months after the movie.
Maybe he should release it before
I
then.
can't. There's already other stuff on the slate. Unless I couldn't,
no.
I can't move it around because the
You
other
do
episodes. are late.
multiple releases sometimes.
I could, but I like the idea of us being just so terribly late, but also getting our predictions in.
What date does the Batman movie come out?
March 4th.
Oh.
So, we're a few months late. You've probably seen the movie by now, guys, but we're giving our opinions. I'm going to give my opinion now, because I have a few opinions, if you
Maybe-
will spare me the time.
We can't even talk about what we thought of it.
No, you'll never know. You will never know what we thought of this film. I probably won't
We
have
can
seen
make
it.
predictions.
Yeah, you only get terrible predictions.
Batman is going to die in this one.
Oh. Batman is going to beat up an elderly
It's
woman.
a really, really bad prediction.
But no, this new Batman movie, it looks very dark. Batman may try to kill himself with pills in this film.
I'm gonna kill myself.
Robin may have to stop. Robin isn't in this film. Robin's too wacky for this film. No, there was a couple of weird things about this trailer. I watched. There's a couple out right now as we're watching it. I feel like they did like a really weird thing with how it's like paced and laid out, because like the very first shot of like Batman talking in it, I think, and this is in the official trailer, like the very first shot of him like talking on screen, he's not even talking, he like shouts. He's like shouts through a mirror, he like bangs on a mirror and he says, "What did you do? What did you do?" That peaked. And like, that is not how you reveal Batman. Batman's supposed to be the guy in control. He comes out of the shadows. "I'm here." I mean, he should probably say more than "I'm here," but it's just kind of awkward for his big first appearance to be like just shouting at somebody, confused and angry. So that's a bit awkward. And what's even weirder though is like there's like an action scene that I think everybody gets so hyped about. Everybody's like, "Oh, did you see that action part in the trailer? He looks so cool." It's where, like, I don't know if it was in the trailer you saw, Cheese, but he's, like, walking down a dark hall and people are just shooting guns directly at him and the bullets are just bouncing off. They're shooting point blank. Have you seen this?
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it must have been in the official trailer. He's just tanking bullets, and I'm like, well,
I don't think I watched it.
I don't think that's really a Batman thing to
It was like,
do.
I mean, even though it's Batman, the fact that it's from this DC stuff, I just immediately don't watch it.
Yeah. It's awkward. I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't be complaining so much if this were like from Marvel, and of course they've had a lot of success, so I probably wouldn't be as like critical. But I also like Batman a lot, and we'll probably
Why
get
are they
into
all
that
shooting
at
at
the
him? What's going on?
I think they're like bad guys. He's like fighting thugs, but they're just shooting him at point blank with these guns, and they're just bouncing off of him, and he's like invincible. Even though his face is exposed, he could get shot at any time. He's like walking slowly and dramatically as bullets. It's really awkward, and I'm just like, well, this ruins the point. He's supposed to be all sneaky, and he's not supposed to get shot. If he gets shot, he messed up.
Dude, that's cool, dude.
Doesn't sound that cool, sorry.
No, I mean, there's other parts that look kind of cool.
Let's rain on all the fanboys' parades.
Maybe we're just too cynical. I don't know. Maybe.
I think we're too cool.
We're cynical. Did Batman look like a angry goth kid to you too in this?
Yeah.
He's like the long hair and like the dark smudges around his eyes for when he has the mask on. And it just kind of looks like somebody who sits in the back of the classroom. Just like hates his life.
He looks like the kid you'd be worried about bringing a gun to school.
Which is awkward for Batman, who's not supposed to use guns, I might add. Unless you're Zack Snyder and you're just like, give him a flamethrower. Well, he doesn't get a flamethrower.
Screw it.
Shoots a guy. Yeah, no, I don't care. He took the Tanabe approach and said, I don't care. Gotta mention Tanabe every time. Gotta reach the Tanabe quota. And I don't know. There was nothing like
Tanabe's famous quote of "I don't care."
Everybody knows it. It's famous. He actually put it in the end credits of Origami King. It's like the final thing that pops up on screen. Like it all cuts to black and then slowly in white text fades on screen. I don't care. And everybody was so confused. What does this mean? Is this like a tease for the next game? And Tanabe had to go on record on Twitter. He was like, no, I hate all of you. So
good man.
Yeah, great guy. So I wonder what his next big project. We're all eagerly looking forward to his next big project, Origami Arkham. Tanabe's next big game.
Crossover.
Alfred, I've been turned into origami.
Dr. Crane, the Scarecrow, he starts turning
Origami
people
Crane?
into cranes.
Oh my god.
He's so dastardly.
Oh no.
Brilliant. We need to send this to Tanabe if he hasn't working on it already. The Joker, he's an actual playing card.
The Joker shoots Bowser point blank in the skull.
I don't know. The trailer looks pretty dour. There's like no moment in the trailer for me that like really jumps out that I'm like, ooh, this is interesting. I gotta see this in action.
Well, what interests me, what the heck is the Riddler doing? What is he doing?
I don't know what his
If this is justice, then what would they will do?
Is that just what he sounded like to you in your jumbled brain?
It's something about justice.
Yeah, I can see that word being thrown around.
What is he doing? What is he doing?
I mean, I think the Joker is a cool villain introduced because we haven't seen him aside from Jim Carrey, but we're not going to talk about that.
The answer is justice.
And I don't know. It's an interesting villain to have if you're going to have a more like investigative Batman. I said that so wrong. He's going to be investigating. On with the story.
Get on with the story. I'm here for the story, not your commentary. He clenched the bottle tightly for a moment before reaching out and grabbing me, tugging me close.
And strangling me.
He knelt down and leaned his head against my chest.
Awkward.
That's weird. His tears intensifying and wetting me. His arms were around my waist tightly, and I could feel that sinister bottle digging into the small of my back.
What? The story is breaking down.
It's okay, I said softly, even though I was crying too. I patted his head, and gently, as he cried into my chest, Then I put a hand behind my back and slowly eased the pill bottle into his mouth.
No.
There you go.
It's best this way.
From his hand. I tossed it over the railing before he could stop me. Not that he tried.
We'd way to phrase that then. He stood up and pulled me into a close hug, even though they were already in a close hug. I guess this is a closer hug. Collecting himself with the bottle now gone.
This is weird.
Thank you, he murmured fiercely. How do you murmur
Thank you.
There we go. I
I
didn't
feel like
even...
we shouldn't be here for this. This is between them, isn't it?
Yeah, this is like a very personal moment. I feel like we're kind of eavesdropping.
Makes me uncomfortable.
Well, you're just gonna have to power through it, I guess. This story's garbage. Anyways, I didn't even think anyone cared. Sorry.
I didn't even think anyone cared about me anymore or what happened to me.
And that doesn't sound like anything Batman would care about.
I don't know. Maybe he's like poisoned by poison ivy this whole time. He's not thinking straight. Of course I care about what happens to you, I said angrily. Don't talk that way. He nodded and squeezed me tightly one last time, putting his face in my hair. Just getting tears everywhere.
I never told anyone about that night.
Oh, okay, no, this is Robin talking. I never told anyone about that night, or what he had tried to do to himself in a stroke of misjudgment. I just thought I was going to say he had a stroke or something. Batman had a stroke.
Oh, Robin!
I knew they would I knew they would assess him too harshly and say he was weak, but Bruce Wayne was anything but weak. Who would he even tell? He couldn't tell Alfred, I guess? He can't just go out and tell his friends.
Mr. Wayne, you are weak.
Alfred would definitely say that.
You should have gone through with it.
That's what a real man would have done.
Yeah, not very manly of Bruce
That's
Wayne
what
to
your
be crying.
father would have done.
I kinda got used to seeing him cry over the years because he took less trouble in hiding it from me. He knew I no longer cared and wasn't going to judge him for it. No longer cared. Hey, that's somebody else's memo. Yeah. Sometimes I would... Yeah, thank you for elaborating. They probably didn't get it. They probably didn't get that callback, is what that was called. Sometimes I would come over and put my arms around him, and other times I would just leave him be. I didn't really think too much of it. That was Batman. Punch, kick, and cry every once in a while. It's a weird thing to pair with those. And when the world got to be too much, he'd had a hard life, and I think he had every right to cry. It didn't bother me anymore. I didn't tell anyone about that either. His tears, they were our little secret. I mean, after all, everyone has tears, even Batman.
That's pretty bad.
Oh no, you've digressed. Well,
let's think here.
Think in a fanfic? Seems risky, but okay.
This fanfiction puts way too much weight on tears. I mean,
it is the title.
Everybody cries. Who cares?
Well, this is Batman. A lot of people don't know that Batman would cry.
Of course he cries.
Well,
He's
some
a man.
people don't know that.
Doesn't really matter.
Well, what this story was about, it was a touching story about Batman and Robin is consoling his mentor for always being there for him. Now he is there for Batman, and he is proving that Batman is not just a bat, but he is a man underneath the cape and the
Everybody
cowl.
cries. Suck it up and move on.
You should just leave that as a review. Speaking of the reviews...
Everybody cries, even Batman.
Oh my gosh, you're gonna love the first comment. I think you should read it.
What? Well, hang on, let me see. Did it make him cry?
I'm crying now. Beautiful story.
Renis me vivivio.
Oh, it's heading to the field. It's heading to the fields. I love how Dickel is a considerable son. And about Bruce and his tears. God, it cuts me down. Because
My
he's the
gosh.
Batman and my hero. also can cry real tears.
Wow.
Well, he's a human after all. He's a human being.
Oh my
You
God.
can cry, Bruce. It's okay. Oh, my throat. Need Alfred's magical cookies and some of his warm milk, please.
Is this a joke comment?
Oh my God. Oh no.
That might be one of the lamest comments we've ever read.
He must be really young.
This was written by like an 8-year-old.
Or really dumb.
This was written by a 45-year-old.
Treating me in the fields, my hero.
What a loser.
Nikita6 has a very short but sweet point. So very true. We all cry. This was powerful. Thank you.
This show's all about bullying.
I mean,
It really is.
there's really not much to this story. We'll read. Are there any more interesting comments? We don't have to read them all, but we'll get to the review in a second. Our own review. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
The next one says,
Oh yeah, I'm looking at the next one, yeah.
the Rogue
Can I-
Birdie says, this
Here, you
is a
wanna
story.
read
Oh yeah, definitely.
This is a story I've read at least 10 times in the past 2 months. I will never get tired of it. It is beautifully written and puts a lump in my throat every time I read it. Wonderful job. I love that Dickie and Bruce lean on each other. It really shows how much they care for each other.
I thought they called him Dickle.
No. Imagine reading this story
Jeez.
10 times in 2 months. That'd be torture. Why would you read it that way? This isn't high art. What are you getting out of this after the second read?
No one revealed this yet? What?
That's been out. This was in 2010, so the story's been around a while.
Wow, how old is this story?
I don't know.
I'll check.
No one reviewed this yet? What? That's bananas! Anyway, to my review. I liked it a lot. Showed vulnerability. We all cry multiple times in our life, and it showed a more human side of Bruce.
Oh.
A more behind-the-scenes part of him. A very intimate part of him. You see where I'm going. Keep writing. You do it well. Peace for now.
Peace for now, as in there may not be peace in the future. Yeah, this story was published on December 15th of 2010. This story
What
is
a year. What a year.
ancient. What were you doing December 15th of 2010, Cheese? Where were you?
I don't remember.
Okay, well, thank you for your
Probably getting ready for Christmas.
I was probably doing something a lot more productive than reading or writing fanfics. I'll tell you that much.
Probably in school.
Probably. This was probably written during somebody's school period. Anakin Love was just sitting in, like, his chemistry class. It's like, what if Batman cried? All right, Cheese, I guess we should leave our own
His
review.
last story was in 2019.
Oh, uh-oh. Maybe the corona got him.
Oh yeah, he did update the last time in June 5th of 2020.
Dun, dun, dun. Timing might line up. Oh no. Anakin Love was the one gasping and quivering at the end of the day.
Oh, he has a lot of stories. He must be one of the big league authors.
Or maybe he became he probably directed this upcoming Batman movie. We're gonna learn that he's like a big fan. I guess we should have our own review, Cheese. This story was amazing. First of all, I just cannot underscore enough how important it was to see the human side of Batman for the very first time. And the only way to get that across, the only way, is to have Batman cry repeatedly and try to kill himself with a pill. Mhm. And a 15-year-old kid has to be the one to talk him down and save him. That is how you show he is
Probably
a
would have
human.
liked it better. I think a better way to show his human side, to show Dick or one of the Robins crying instead of Batman and caring and showing that he really cares for him and
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, in that
does
alternate
dad
reality,
things, I guess.
yeah, I mean, in the alternate reality where that was the story, we'd probably still be complaining because, you know, that's our
Yeah, they
job.
probably would have done it terribly as they always do.
But, you know, that is probably a better idea. I mean, Batman, his entire character in this story is, I'm crying repeatedly! And I know he's not, it's like jumping
There's
ahead.
better
but-
ways to show humanity.
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying for a long time to get Cheese to check out some of like the animated Batman stuff. I always try to get him to watch Mask of the Phantasm, one of the best, if not the best, animated Batman movie, and he just refuses. because he hates me, and
I refuse!
he hates good products. He only wants to watch Aquaman. And I just keep telling him, Cheese, you're not getting anything out of this.
Ghostbusters. I heard the new Ghostbusters is pretty bad. They never should have kept on trying to make movies.
Well, you were mentioning earlier, before we hopped on this call, that Batman seemed like he was getting kind of a lot of films and stuff, or a lot of content about Batman has been coming out to the point where it might be getting exhausting,
Yeah.
kind of like Spider-Man. If you wanted to talk about that briefly.
I don't know. I guess I'd be more excited about it if the last version of Batman was better, but it wasn't. It kind of sucked. Ben Affleck.
Well, I haven't even really considered, one of the problems I also have with the DCEU is how confusing it is. Because is this
Yeah, it's
related
weird.
to the films? Is this supposed to be like a young Ben Affleck, or is this a different universe? I don't even
No, we need to
know what's
make
happening.
Justice League right now!
They had to rush into that Justice League and just mess everything up in every way, and now they're just backtracking so hard where people are like, is the Joker movie canon? It's kind of like the Star Trek effect. We were talking about this in the previous Fanfic Talk mini episode, where Star Trek is just being milked to death with just so many shows at the same time. Batman isn't quite as bad as that, but, you know, there comes a point where there's just so many superhero films, and they kind of start blurring together, even if it's Batman. Even someone as cool as
Yeah.
Batman, I just watch it and I'm like, oh, he's punching. I saw this in Black Widow.
I am vengeance.
One of the first comments I read on that video was somebody saying, like, Batman looks like a bigger villain than anybody else in this trailer. And they're probably right.
Maybe that's the point.
They might be doing like a commentary, like, Batman's just as unhinged as the villains he fights. I mean,
Maybe that's what, maybe that's the point Riddler's trying to prove.
that could be. And I guess that's a cool idea. I mean, it's been done to death in countless other projects, but it's something. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. We've given our slight predictions. We're not going to go too in-depth. That's not what this channel is.
Batman.
That is the new villain I'm making for the next Batman comic
Oh?
called Fat Man.
Fat Man.
And
Brilliant.
he talks mostly in, like, is mostly unintelligible. His mouth just kind of flaps around like,
Sure.
but then all of a sudden he can make out the word Batman every once in a while. But he's like, somehow he's worse than Joker.
My true arch enemy, Fat Man.
Though he's fat and really can't do much himself, his brain is a weapon
Oh.
to match even Brainiac.
Oh my gosh. And he rides around in one of those little Walmart scooters. Batman, look out! Batman's on his way over in his scooter! And the new Batman looks like they're going very serious. It's kind of like the Zack Snyder approach to Superman, but it's Batman, so it works more here. I hope they don't go too far with it, because the Christopher Nolan films, for as dark as people say those are, they're not that dark. They have their moments.
Did you see that, like, the Riddler just completely duct taped a guy's face? Like,
Yeah.
Why?
That probably hurt. I hope that
what
guy's
did he do
okay.
that for? Did he suffocate?
Maybe he's just trying to get rid of, like, blackheads. It's like a seaweed
fine.
wrap. Yeah.
My things with the trailers, I don't know what the Riddler's doing.
It's a bit confusing. I think they're leaving things purposefully kind of confusing, which is, I guess, interesting for Batman. This is where Batman is right now, which is why we're talking about him. We'll see what happens. But I don't know.
But then also, there's like little scenes where it seems like they're showing him, and I'm just like, I'm trying to get a good look, but I'm just like, he just looks like a weird guy.
As the approach they're going, I mean, well, what else are you gonna? I can't think of too many ways to go about it without it being silly. I think is probably the problem they ran into, because you can't do the Jim Carrey thing. You can't put him in green spandex and have him leap around with like pink flamingo hair. You don't want that. You could just turn him into a guy in like a suit who's just kind of like primp and proper. Maybe that could work, but they probably went with the right approach, keeping him kind of mysterious and edgy, so to speak.
It's a mystery.
As long as Batman does not kill everyone in this film, I'll probably be fine enough with it. How are you going to do worse than Batman v Superman? How? I don't know, make Origami King, I guess. The end.